Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode number 3 of the All Around Advanced podcast slash stream slash show. What you just heard was a gorgeous rendition by our very own Captain Fappin. Big ups to him. We're going to be playing this at the start of every single show now. But I am your host, of course, Terry, and I'm joined by the one and only Season 4 Div 2 Player's Choice Best Medic, alliteratively aliased Rasta Ronald. How are you, my friend?
Pretty good, pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Let's go. It's time, like I said, I plan to have guests all throughout the season. That's, at least 8 weeks plus playoffs weeks. And how could I not get one of the Honey Bacon Club, or I guess you guys are the emoji face now, but I'm still calling you the Honey Bacon Club. They're on the show. And, we're just going to get right into the swing of things. Let me switch over my displays and hopefully not screw up this process, but oh no. Oh no. Why is it not showing my window? Please, game. OBS.
Surprise number 2.
Surprise number 2. Hello? Excuse me? Technical difficulties. Okay. I did jinx it, but we're okay now. We're back. Let me zoom in. But here we go, Season 5 Advanced. 2 weeks put away. We're at the quarter mark. First things first, I want to address the division, as in, I don't know if you guys are seeing what I'm seeing, but there's 4 teams that have a winning record right now, and then everybody else is 2-2 or worse. So, I was saying this on my other couple of streams when I was watching some matches, but dude, if you're 2-2, you're Gucci. You're fine. Everybody else. Let's count how many teams are 2-2 right now. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 teams. Half the div is 2-2. Wait a minute. Yeah, that sounds about right. And then a couple of teams haven't played yet because Hedges' team has to play Alfredo Dan's team. That's happening on Sunday. But I think it's pretty wild. There's only 3 undefeated teams. Yeah, exactly. Only 3 undefeated teams at the end of week number 2. And then DR Addicts are 3-1. So it's very, very close. Very, very close. And I anticipate that it will continue down the stretch for many, many more weeks to come. But let's update everybody on some roster moves. A couple of simple additions first. Rock Bottom, we just mentioned them. They still have yet to play one of their Villa matches, but they have finally picked up a medic. They welcome Asher to the team. And then St. Jude's, the Cadet team, also picked up Eugenio to replace Squid. So both those teams finally have their medics set and their rosters are set. Speaking of, Eels and Escalators, that is the Reign of Light team. Reign of Light told me that their current roster is as follows. Reign of Light scouts Bacon and Avoid Joker on Soldier, so Avoid Joker's moving over from Demo to Soldier. They brought back an old friend, Serial. Serial is back for Demo Man. He's playing the game again. I'm pretty sure he hasn't played since I don't know, I want to say ESCA season 25 or 6 or something like that. And then they also brought back Console. Console's playing again as well. Console will be playing Medic. And then the only other roster changes that I have here is the Predatory Lending Practices. I still hate that name. But Hypno Squad, they picked up Gaia on Demo Man after they had Daybreak Ring for week 1. They picked up Hooli, another old school gamer. So, all the old timers are coming back. They did lose Dit in the process. And I think he actually joined you guys as a backup.
Yeah, he did. He's a sub for us.
Mm-hmm. And then from what Hypno told me, they're basically bouncing between either having Hooli Scout, Scooby Soldier, or vice versa. So they still have a little bit more stuff to do. But that's it for player transactions. In other roster news, Monkeys at Mid, they have made a change from their week 1 lineup by shifting Owib from Soldier to Scout, and basically just him and Caboose doing a little switcheroo. So now Caboose Soldier, Owib Scout. I would probably say that's a pure upgrade from simply the fact that Owib's on Scout now, and I'm pretty sure you agree with me. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Obe's a beast on Scout.
Oib was one of the most dominant scouts last season. Of course, we all know what happened to his team later on, but whatever. That's not here or there. We're talking about Season 5 Advanced now. And the Caboose is a very solid soldier in his own right as well. So that should be a pretty good change for that squad. And then, last but not least, Romney 5. They are what I wrote down as roster musical chairs because, kind of similar to Monkeys at Mid, they kind of did a different lineup for Villa Week. They had Rikachu Demo, Riro Scout, and then Sliceoak told me that Riro is not going to play Metalworks Week because I think he just hates the map. So no Riro sightings next week if you're up against Romney 5. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's get into the match recaps here. I guess we'll go in the order that I have it here. First one, Team Solo 5-0 over Portland Burnsiders. Now, this was one of the matches of the week that I predicted last week. Clearly, that did not pan out. I didn't expect it to be this much of a roll. I also did not watch this game, but I don't know. What do you think about this?
I feel like Burnsiders, I feel like they don't have a lot of experience on this map. I don't know. They after this 5-0 and then like we scrimmed them too and we beat them. Like they have a lot of like experienced players, but like they just seem kind of like lost on this map, Villa specifically.
That's something that, I was like I called attention to it, and then a couple people in my chat over the course of this week's streams also noted. It's just like, because Villa's such a new map, this is its third season in the rotation. Teams just aren't really familiar with it, and I mean, it clearly kind of showed. And I guess TS just kind of barreled through them here. So not really much else to go off of for this one, but moving right along. We had Dior Addicts versus I by WinRAR. Now, this was a 4-3, so obviously it went to the full time allotted, and I believe it was like seconds away from a potential tie, I believe. I remember watching Grape Juice's stream at the very end. I only got to review the first half, unfortunately, because the second half just wasn't around on demos.tf. But from the first half, I noticed a lot of, I won't say like mistakes, but a lot of struggles for both teams kind of keeping their medic alive in crucial situations. Like one medic would go down and then pretty much 30 seconds later the other one would follow suit. But having scrimmed, well, actually I've only really scrimmed the Grape Juice team. Haven't scrimmed the Cavito team yet. But anything about this match perhaps that surprises you or you want to bring attention to?
Not really surprised, but both scout pairs on each team went pretty beast.
Yeah, air doing air things.
They have Antony and Claps. Pretty beast combo. Like they both got 40 kills.
Yeah, I mean, I think all the scouts had a field day, right? Like air 50 and 34, app 37 and 22, claps 42 and 25, and 41 and 14. Oh my god, that's actually crazy. Yeah. So I mean, all the scouts. Granted, like, let's be real, the 3-2 stalemate on Villa is so bad that, like, soldiers are solo sacking in or whatever, and they're just permanently in the sad zone. Take a shot every time Rasta says beast. I don't have my alcohol right now with me, unfortunately. But yeah, this was obviously a very, very good game. And Dior Addicts, like we talked about earlier, they're 3-1 now, so their only loss coming to Cat Posse, which we'll talk about later as we sort, even though the schedule is not out. Moving right along, St. Jude's versus, watch this, a 5-4 game. We've had a handful of those, or like one-round victories throughout this week. This is one of the games. Yeah. I mean,
for sure.
I guess it's to be expected when the map is so new and the division is competitive. I already can't remember if I watched this match or not, but I watched a lot of matches this week. I will say, I mean, Cadet had a very good game, 32 and 15, 220 DPM, 227 DPM. Most of all the scouts clearly played a lot of off-classing. How did the mids break down? Ooh, looks like watch this. We're the winner of more mids.
Looking at the stats, trying to see anything that catches my eye, really. Indy got 7 med picks.
Ooh.
Crucial right there.
Yeah, that's pretty good. The Roamer man. He also got
Also,
7 demos too. Wow.
I think this might have been the first match that Eugenio played with the Cadet team.
Yes, I believe so, because they had a 5-4 here, and then they also had a 5-2 later on in the week. But yeah, pretty much pretty standard. Just another close game. Again, like if you're one of those 11 teams that are 2-2 right now, it's just going to be like a bloody ass fight all the way to the finish line. So pretty much just, if you won, keep up the good work, and if you lost, especially if you only lost by like a round or two, you know that like a couple adjustments here and there, a couple of better DM fights, and you might have been on top. So absolutely, like, I hate to use the word quality loss, but I feel like that's what a lot of these are, especially on a map like Villa, dude. It's just so up in the air and so random. I don't know why these logs are weird or look funny, but this was Goblin Zone versus Predatory Lending Practices. This was also another match that I highlighted during last week's episode. Both these teams had a pretty, I guess, bad Snakewater week and needed to rebound quickly here, and that's exactly what happened. I will just point out that frickin' Wide Peepo Chungus Champ, aka Muma. He went Beggar's Bazooka for a handful. These logs are all broken. Maybe I can just look at the individual halves here to show you guys instead. But yeah, this looks a lot better. So this was the first half. I did watch this full match on stream, but Muma had a kind of ridiculous game, just abusing the shit out of the Beggar's Bazooka, or the dumpster device as it's called here. He kind of just went off, got a ton of kills, had a couple of funny spy plays as well, but
it was a lot of shenanigans that happened.
Oh yeah. Beggars is good sometimes, yeah, probably, and Muma is kind of trying to make a case for it, but and then after the 2-2 first half, it was kind of all Goblin Zone from there. As you can see, again, Muma, 16 kills, 9 of them were from Beggars. He did 340 DPM, so a good rebound week for Goblin Zone, and hopefully with the Hypno team having solidified their roster a little bit better, it can set them up for future dubs.
Yeah, let's
Last but not least, yeah, here we go. This was definitely the talk of the town here, match of the week in terms of the results slash, I guess, information-wise. Lobsters.tf taking a 5-3 victory over Portland Burnsiders. I mean, at face value, it's got to be an upset.
Yeah, for sure.
And the only thing I said while we were like observing this live and the night that it happened, I was like, I had scrimmed both of these teams. I guess the score didn't really. Let me say this actually. I wasn't surprised by the fact that Lobsters won, but perhaps I expected like a 5-4 or maybe like a 4-3 or something. Yeah, really closer, a little bit closer of a game. And then go ahead. Sorry, go. No, you go.
Just because like I was saying earlier, like the players on blue have like they just have more experience at a higher level,
exactly.
And they've just played longer, played against better teams and stuff. So they should have like on paper definitely come out on top, but I don't know what was happening. Maybe it was the Tristan airstrike. I don't know. Something shook them up.
Yeah, so definitely, like, 503 had the advantage experience-wise. Again, obviously the Villa factor, new map. But when I actually went back and watched this game, two things stood out to me. Number one, as you can see here, mid-fights. Lobsters.tf kind of... I mean, they only won 2 more, but I felt like every single mid that they won, they did it in a dominating fashion. They got super aggressive, super early, and then, like, their whole team just played together, capitalizing off of their damage, and just... I mean, again, being the aggressor usually will, work out for you, and it did for them. And then the second thing was I noticed a lot of struggles for the Burnsiders with regards to keeping Fig alive. Sometimes it was Fig being a little bit too greedy with their positioning and then getting caught. And then a couple of times I noticed that Squiddy would drop Fig during an Uber exchange. So obviously, like, it doesn't really reflect that in the stats here because obviously 21 and 19, 240 DPM compared to Suika going 27 and 20, 270 DPM. It doesn't look that big of a difference, but I guess upon closer inspection, they were down their demo in a lot of crucial situations, and that was ultimately part of the reason that Lobsters got this victory here. So
Yeah, I think it was just like big dying at the wrong times, like trying to lock out the chokes like too aggressively and just like eating spam and dying. Also, Squiddy did drop 3 times. It was
yeah,
unfortunate. There was one I saw it 2 times when I was watching your stream.
yeah, I believe.
Oni just like walked in and like laid sticks. I think like twice,
I
and
think
Squiddy
two
just
of those
died.
drops were in the second half too. So yeah, absolutely, very very crucial, especially when the game was neck and neck up until that point. Um, but yeah, I mean, obviously a big victory there for Lobsters. It's definitely, if nothing else, this definitely gave them a little bit of a confidence boost, I would imagine.
That's the morale win right there.
Yeah. Um, But again, hopefully, on the opposite end for Burnsiders, not to be too disheartened by this loss. Again, like they're still 2-2, just like a whole plethora of other teams in this division, and anything can still happen over the 6 remaining weeks.
Yeah, I would say like for the most part, like I don't know. I feel like every team like has a chance to be like in the top 8 this season. Like I mean, like different spots in top 8 playoffs,
Mhm.
but like those bottom spots, like I feel like most teams in the division could, it could go either way. It just depends on like who wants it more, who steps up.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get to this in a little bit, but I think outside of a couple obvious favorites, again, there's still so much out there for all these teams and all these players to try and go get. And with 8 playoff spots, anything truly can happen. Like a 3-1 start will absolutely not guarantee you playoffs by any stretch of the imagination. And on the opposite end, a 1-3 start doesn't guarantee that you're eliminated from the playoff race. So all you can do is play each week as it comes, do your best, scrim hard, prepare hard, and then ball out in your matches. Again, since we don't have Metalworks previews yet, I don't know if there's any other matches here. We obviously have Honey Bacon Club 4-3 dub over Gaming. Lobsters.tf lost a very narrow game to Feet Picks, aka the Highlander players. Um, Goblin Zone, again, they still have to play Rock Bottom, which I guess is what's holding up the scheduler. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Um,
Are they playing that match tonight or is
I
that
think I
tomorrow?
believe that's tomorrow. So they're
Tomorrow.
they're playing Super Bowl Sunday, 10:30. So I would assume matches will get out after that concludes. I will probably just bother the hell out of Jamond in my altered state, because by the time that game ends, I will probably have consumed copious amounts of alcohol. But yeah, all right. So again, we don't really have much else to talk about, but again, let's look at the league standings here. I wanted to bring attention to this, and I did earlier, but all right, RGL, you just don't want to work. Okay, that's cool. So obviously we have 3 undefeated teams remaining. We got Cat Posse, we got Team Solo and we got Honey Bacon Club. You guys, the 3 of you are almost certainly going to run into each other next week because y'all
Yeah.
haven't played each other yet. So, as you are a member of one of these top 3 teams right now, if we assume that you're going to get both of them, right? Like, how are you feeling headed into Metalworks week? Or give me your general thoughts. Which team perhaps scares you or thinks it would be the tougher match?
Um, I don't fear anyone, but
Yes, sir. That's what we like to hear.
I will say that I feel like Cat Posse is definitely playing really good TF2. Like they've just been putting in the work, performing. I mean they've got a really solid roster. Um, Karama on demo, beast, putting out
Kura
insane
Beast.
damage. Um, Toss with his tier 6 jumps. Uh, I feel like they're the scariest team in the div. RN.
Yeah, I
So
I'm, I'm inclined to agree.
I would say that team is um like I don't know if you get a dub off them, like big morale win. But yeah,
Mhm.
I think they're definitely the favorites to be like top. So team solo we've scrimmed them a couple times. I would say they're not invincible. Like they can be beat.
Yeah, I think the strength of TSM is really just like the mechanical talent of all their players, and again, the fact that they have so many like good players on multiple classes means they can do some musical chair stuff and just like do whatever from week to week and like change things up. Actually, they did change things up because like played demo on Snakewater, but then for Villa Week he played Scout, right? So like already showing a little bit of flexibility,
Versatility.
yeah,
Yeah.
flexibility and versatility, and you know I agree with you in saying and thinking that like Cat Posse is the strongest team right now, if only because, as we can see here, TSM's results are a little bit more inconsistent. I guess they obviously are 4-0, nothing to scoff at. But I guess I'm looking at the 5-3 here versus the Monkeys at mid team, which is obviously they gave up 3 rounds, whereas Cat Posse have pretty much 5-0'd or 5-1 to everybody else in their path right now. And again, that team Shining Star like knew like halfway through last season that she wanted to remake Cat Posse. So they brought in KTB immediately. Yum Yum and Toss come back. Ray comes back. Ghetto Chungus came back for a little bit, got replaced by Kurama, and then Kurama's been beasting, as they say. So obviously these guys, the betting favorites right now. Again, we've said it time and time again. The season is still very young. Um, I like how Brimstone is actually just aliased as this, having joined the team as a backup. He's just, it's a good alias, a classic Brimstone alias. But yeah, so we will absolutely be seeing these 3 teams duke it out next week on Metalworks. Hopefully, Fireside or TFTV or someone covers at least a couple of those matches, because I think that will be a visual treat for everybody involved. And again, in theory, I think if it all checks out, right, like only one team could remain undefeated, because if you all play against each other, it's mathematically impossible for 2 of you to go 6-0.
Yeah.
So, I mean, by week 3, we will only have one undefeated team remaining, and then it's everybody else playing catch up. And yeah, like I said, with all these 2-2 teams, I'm sure the auto schedule or whoever is doing schedules will have a lot of fun sorting that out. And then, why is the Rate of Light team down here? Is it because they don't have 6 paid? It's probably, yep. Okay, so they don't have 6 paid players yet, but I mean, I think they were still like this last week, so that clearly doesn't affect the scheduler too much. Um, yeah, that's like pretty much it, honestly. There is not much else to go over. We talked about roster news, we talked about Villa news. We picked the brain of Honey Bacon Club's medic here, heading into Metalworks week. Um, yeah, I don't know. Let's wrap things up. Let's do this here. I want you, Mr. Ronald, to give me look at these 2-2 teams. All right, look at everybody that's 2-2 right now, and why don't you give
Okay.
me 2 teams that you think are on the upswing after after the first 4 matches of the season?
Okay. Um, I would say I think gaming. I think gaming is, after this week, I'm pretty sure they'll be able to secure those dubs or at least have good fights. They're a solid team. We had a really close match against them on Villa, and I think they can outperform uh, most, if not all, of the other 2-2 teams. So
Yeah,
I think their score doesn't like actually represent their talent and their skill. Um, Burnsiders, they did have a unfortunate loss for them, but if they can get past that and put in the work, like I feel like they could do pretty well. Um, I buy Winrar. I think they could do. They're a solid group of team. They have a lot of experience. Definitely a lot more experience than the other 2-2 teams. Especially, like Aaron Apt, MC, Grape Juice.
Yeah, that's a very experienced lineup, and I think obviously again they lost by 1 round to the Cavito team, and then had some pretty convincing wins against Watch This and St. Jude's, and then outside of their other loss to Gaming, they can rebound from this record. But again, like I said, everybody's 2-2 right now. If you know an advanced team, they're probably 2-2 right now. So, 14 more games to go, or 12 more games to go. I can't do math, and I really think that like at worst, 9-7 is probably going to be good enough to get you in the playoffs, especially with again how close this division has been so far. I really don't see I don't see it having such a high benchmark where you need to have like 11 wins or something.
Yeah.
Because again, top 8 out of 20, assuming that all the teams kind of cannibalize each other in the middle of the pack, like it's going to be really, really close. So every round that you grab, even in a loss, is going to be important as the season drags on. So
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely going to come down to those percentage of rounds won, especially in those like bottom couple playoff spots.
And once again, I would like to thank RGL for actually putting wins as the most important stat for a tiebreaker. Thank you, thank you. It's almost like we play this game to win. But anyway, that is pretty much it from me. And Rasta Ronald here today from All Around Advanced. Thank you so much for joining me, sharing your thoughts. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Once again, thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Captain Fapton, for the jingle. You'll hear it on the YouTube VOD upload, and you'll hear it next week. We'll probably be back to Sunday releases or Sunday streams. Again, I just had to impromptu change it this week because tomorrow's the Super Bowl. And I will be getting smashed. But that's going to be all. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and have a good night.